14 years ago, Rosie Torres opened her floreria in Fresno. An American dream rooted in a mother's dying wish.
I promised her that I would do it on my own since I worked for so many people for so many years. So I decided to open it, and my mom passed a couple of weeks after we opened the shop.
But now her flower shop is on the brink of permanent closure. The pandemic cutting sales by 80%, and the federal aid that was promised to small businesses like hers doesn't seem to be coming.
There's billions of dollars that are there. I'm hoping and praying that with our determination, each one of us, that we'd be able to receive something, some type of funding to help us.
She's just one of many small businesses who desperately need the money and are running into one roadblock after another as they try to navigate the government program meant to be their lifeline. With some so frustrated that they're taking their grievances to court.
It was just a brick wall. Every time you went in, there was a brick wall.
Now, signs of incompetence and big business influence are starting to surface. Critics decrying the millions handed to well-established corporations.
A cast member of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is now accused of taking federal money.
One man even being accused of spending his loans on luxury items like jewelry and cars. While people like Torres are running out of time.
When everything falls, like it's a domino effect.
It's all tied to the CARES Act, passed by Congress in March to help revive a crumbling economy. An all-encompassing $2 trillion aid package meant to help the millions of Americans impacted by COVID-19. A quarter of that aid money has gone into the Paycheck Protection Program, designed to provide financial relief for small businesses and their employees. At least 100,000 small businesses have permanently closed since the pandemic hit in March, and a record 45.7 million Americans have filed new claims for unemployment benefits in just the last 13 weeks.
In this small community here that I'm aware of, only one has received one of the grants. All the others that I know of have not received anything yet.
Rosie Torres is one of those minority female business owners the president said would benefit from the program. But with no federal aid and business declining, she's had to lay off 3 employees.
When did it start to really hit you how concerning this would be financially for your business?
Maybe the first month that we were closed, having to, pull from our savings to make sure even for the people that work here was a big concern. How are they going to feed their families?
Torres says she spent months caught in a PPP runaround, trying to get responses from banks who were put in charge of processing the loans.
First, I used our bank that we use for our business, and they referred me to a different source. Never got a reply. So I decided to go through a different bank, and they referred me that I would have to have a business loan through their bank, which we didn't. So I called the SBA here, but I got a returned email saying that they weren't accepting them anymore.
You basically tried to apply for these loans through, it sounds like, 4 different banks.
Yes.
Meantime, large corporations like Shake Shack, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and the LA Lakers altogether initially received nearly $35 million in loans due to loose guidelines that qualified them as small businesses. And after facing public backlash and outrage, all 3 returned the money. But even the businesses who managed to receive the money are realizing that PPP may not be a fail-safe solution.
For most of our employees, this was their first job ever.
Biddy and Beau's, a coffee franchise that employs people with intellectual and physical disabilities, has been Amy Wright's pride and joy. After a COVID shutdown, their reopening day was one full of hope.
Can you tell I'm smiling at you?
Yes.
I'm happy to see you.
After receiving PPP funding in early April, they were singled out as a prime example for the program's success, earning a trip to the White House.
We will continue to take up the charge and help everyone, especially people with disabilities, pursue the American dream.
But the loan money, which was intended to carry her business during the shutdown, has been spent. And now sales are down 90%. Wright says she used the loans to keep her 120 employees on payroll and pay off rent and utilities for 8 weeks of the national shutdown. She's now had to lay off half of her employees.
There's a sliver of me that was hoping that we would prove everybody wrong, and this would be the one place that people would just pour back into. But the reality is it's still a scary time.
While people like Wright use the money to keep her business afloat, there are fears that others may have been using the money fraudulently. Former Love and Hip Hop Atlanta reality star Maurice Fame, aka Arkansas Mo, received more than $2 million for his transportation company. Federal authorities allege he spent most of those funds, more than $1.5 million worth, on himself, buying fancy jewelry and leasing a 2019 Rolls-Royce. He was arrested on federal bank fraud charges in May, but his lawyer Tanya Miller says Mo should be the least of everyone's concerns. Is he prepared to give that money back?
I certainly am not commenting on his defense because that is the subject of a criminal investigation. We really need to be looking at why it was that some individuals in connection with larger corporations were able to pay back money and continue on with their life, and other individuals are on the opposite end of a federal indictment.
Fain denied using any of the PPP loan proceeds to pay his personal debts and expenses. Critics say that's part of the problem, that we don't know how the money is being used and who received the funds.
We don't have the data.
California Democratic Representative Katie Porter helped sponsor the CARES Act.
Do you think Congress passed the bill too quickly without fully understanding what they were signing away?
We were having to face the reality that the coronavirus pandemic was unfolding quickly. Cases were skyrocketing, and I think even at that time, I'm not sure we fully understood. So we acted quickly to try to get those resources out there because we were hearing from small businesses, we can't make end of the month payroll in March.
Porter thinks total transparency is necessary.
It's absolutely not enough to only have a portion of the data. We need to have a look at the entirety of the program.
Rosie Torres has yet to receive any PPP money. Instead, last week she noticed a random $3,000 deposit in her bank account. It was federal grant money from a separate disaster loan fund she had applied for earlier this year.
So your wedding party is with you as well?
Mm-hmm. At the time, she was told it couldn't be fulfilled because funds had run out.
There's a gap somewhere that it's not being filled in to be able to help people.
While she's grateful for the money, she says it's only enough for 1 month and could disqualify her from receiving more money through PPP or other grants.
We would be hoping for the best to have something that would help us from the government to not be able to pay it back, but just say, okay, you're going to work for this. It's a grant. We're going to help you. We're going to pick you up. But if not, we'll just start all over and start from the beginning, which is not hard. Just keep doing it.
For now, all she can do is cling to hope.
The American dream is to own your own home, have a family, have a business. So we're just going to keep fighting for that American dream.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.